Welcome back to the Govys show. Cuttys, embarrassed, humiliated, disgusted, our team. I told Govy I'm thinking of resigning and calling it the Govys show, not the CuttyandGovy show. We are a team forever, though. Anyway, this week was a giant scandal with Kamala Harris, the loser. We're going to do winners and losers today, Govy. But before we start, if I may, my book, Left Foot, Right Foot, Survival Guide for Business and Life, launches tomorrow on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. You can get it online. It is a motivational book about lessons I learned in my 40-year career of building 12,000 houses. And it's lessons from the giants of industry, from celebrities, from people that swept the houses for me, that built the roads, built the pipes. And it's a quick read. Every chapter is only 2 or 3 or 4 pages. So if you have ADD like I do, it's very easy to read. You can put it down. You can pick it up. And I hope that you read it, you laugh, you cry, you smile. It came out. I wrote this book. I was at one of my kids' commencement exercises at school, and the speaker was so bad. I had a dream as I sat there watching him graduate from college of writing a book and maybe someday getting some commencement speeches and being a motivational force for these kids to go out in the world and get their ass kicked like.
And you would be great.
They'll get their ass kicked like we do every day, being podcast superstars. Anyway, real fast, Kamala Harris is shamed now. My team, and this is why it's called the Govys show now, because I can no longer hold my head high. I mean, not only is there a scandal, she blew through $1,100,000,000, but now it comes out that all the celebrities were paid $1 million to perform. They weren't endorsing her and going up there and singing for free. They were paid $1 million. Oprah Winfrey was paid $1 million. And now we have this big scandal where we talked about it last week, Govy, that these pollsters are scam artists. And they said up to the day of the election, it's this close. Give more money, give more money. They all knew it was a dead loser. And they scammed the buying public, little old ladies, for $50 or $100 to get her over the edge. But she came short. She's $20 million in the hole. Now, Govy has some strong opinions on it. If the camera focuses on him, you can see the veins coming out of his neck, and he's getting ready to rip away. Come on, give us the details on it.
Actually, I'm very happy. The sun has been shining. The birds are singing. It's been a great 10 days. I mean, it was fantastic. It was a fantastic night. But some things have come out. One is that all of Kamala Harris's entertainers were all getting paid. Oprah got paid. She said that she didn't, but it was actually Harpo Studios, which is the same thing. Katy Perry paid. Bruce Springsteen paid. Cardi B paid. All of them. They were all paid. Now, Lee Greenwald...
Were they paid for an endorsement, or they were just paid for to entertain?
Entertained for the concerts. For the concerts to show up. Lee Greenwald was not paid by Donald Trump. All of Trump's people, they might have been paid for their travel expenses, but they certainly weren't paid to come up and endorse him.
But Lee Greenwald, so for background folks, he's the guy that has that great song that Donald Trump comes on the stage to.
Right.
He kind of did get rich and famous from that song, from being with Donald Trump.
But it's a great song. It's a great song.
I agree with you. I agree with you.
So now the one thing that you got to sit there and you got to say is, one, here's a person telling you that she could balance her budget and that she can try to help with the deficit. Yet in 106 days she spent $1.1 billion and she's $20 million in the hole. She spent over $100,000 on the set. On the set for that Call Me Daddy podcast.
100,000?
100,000. And
Wow.
and here it
How
is.
did she spend 100? They built it for her.
They built this stay in a hotel room. So temporarily she just needed furniture. So now you got to sit there and say, we know that the furniture was probably $15,000. But the person that was in charge of getting the set together probably went up to the furniture store and say, listen, we have it in our budget for 100. Bill me for 100, but you're going to kick me back 70, and you'll make yourself 30, and that way he can grease his palm. So there was a lot of palm greasing on this $1 billion.
Who gets the furniture?
Well, that's another thing. I don't even know.
I could use some
I don't even know who
furniture.
gets the furniture, but that's the least of the thing. It was a moneymaker. All these people had their hands in the kitty. They were all making money. Every single person with their campaign. It's an absolute joke. Now to take it one step further here. Donald Trump was on trial in New York for 6 weeks with this Ergon judge and Letitia James. And what they wanted to put him in jail for was they thought he overestimated the value of his property. Now, the banks, who have their own appraisers, they were okay with it. They got paid. No one got lost. Everybody made money. There was no victims. But they still did not like that he overestimated his returns. Now, here's Kamala Harris telling you that it's a neck-and-neck
Scamming.
race. Scamming. It was a neck-and-neck race.
Scam.
Now, if you wrote $100 to her because she told you Iowa's now is in contention, and it's now, by the way, she lost every swing state, 7 swing states for her $1.1 billion. She lost every single one of them.
But the statistic that you told me, I have it written down here, is even more. Every single state that you didn't have to produce identification for, she won.
Right, every single state.
Is that crazy, folks?
Yeah, every state that there was no ID that needed to. She won. Every state that required an ID, she lost. Think about that.
I mean, this is my team, folks. I'm so embarrassed by these facts.
That's why you could buy a T-shirt right now.
This is why it's called the Govys Show.
Right.
I don't want to be
well, there's
part
now
of
shirts that are being sold to show you the map of the United States.
Yeah, more coverage than Verizon.
More coverage than Verizon. It's all red, except for a couple of little blue dots. So now I think that there should be a class action lawsuit out there.
Man.
That lawyers should be able to say, you know what? She lied to get money from people. Same thing as Donald Trump did, and put her in, and you know what? See that someone should maybe go to jail for something like that.
Well, there's another statistic that just came out last night that they really believed that the election was going to be so close. There was going to be 5 or 6 days of counting the votes, and they were counting on those 5 or 6 additional days to raise additional money to pay this $20 million deficit. But I have a question for you, Govy. This Kari Lake that's so gorgeous in Arizona, what's she, have bad breath or body odor or something? She can't win an election to save her life. She's on Donald Trump's ticket. She endorses Donald Trump. She's a Republican. She can't win an election.
Well, I think
she must have bad breath or something.
She has 2 choices now. There's 2 roads for Kari Lake. She tried governor, lost. Tried senator, lost. They spent millions and millions of dollars on her. And by the way, had Trump. So she has 2 roads. Either Trump puts her in his cabinet, and shoves it down America's throat, even though America is like turning away from her for some reason, or she has to find a little territory that she could run for Congress. And she can maybe start off being a congressperson, but I don't understand
Was she a congresswoman?
No, she was a TV person.
Oh.
And, not to put anything down on TV people, because we'll get to Pete Hegseth a little later on. But, again, Donald Trump, all these people that tried to do lawfare for him, I think that people should look into people that gave money. Real people that $100 meant a lot to, they were lied to that the race was close. And Kamala Harris had an opportunity to get out of this, not Kamala Harris, Joe Biden had the perfect opportunity to get out of this race, and I blame all Democrats, is when the special agent Orr, he was the special investigator, and he was investigating Biden. And he came to his conclusion that he cannot put him on jail, he cannot put him on the stand, because he basically has dementia. And that's when the Democratic Party should have said to Joe, listen, finish your term, but you're not going to run again for another 4 years. It's going to be tough to tell the American people that they can't prosecute you because you might have dementia, but you're going to run for 4 more years. So instead of the Democratic Party saying, good idea, you had Kamala Harris saying, oh, no, he's great. He's doing great.
That was a second scam.
Every single person came to his defense. And you know what? That was the opportunity to do not the switcheroo, but to do have a put 5 people up there, and the best person wins, and that's it. But live by the sword, die by the sword.
I'm going to take the other side.
Okay?
I agree with you. Joe should have dropped out, but he didn't. So now it's kind of late in the game. It's too late to have a runoff, so they need to run Kamala Harris. I don't know maybe it was Jill Biden. I believe she's evil. Melania thinks she's evil. Everybody thinks Jill Biden's evil. But you have 106 days.
She did look good sitting next to Kamala Harris. Did you see that face on her?
Like if they were ready to stab each other.
Like Kamala Harris had body odor or something.
Oh, my God. But you have 106 days to get your message out there. Are you saying Kamala Harris spending $500,000 to have her face on the Sphere in Las Vegas is a waste of money?
Well, she did say that the wall, the border wall, is just a vanity thing for Donald Trump. But she's okay putting her face on the big Sphere for $500,000.
Jim Dolan made a lot of money on that. What is that? Just a projection? You put it up there and you get $500,000?
Yeah,
it's a pretty good deal. But anyway, you just brought it up. Let's stay on the subject. The new cabinet post, this guy, Marco Rubio, everybody likes Marco, right? He's a fast talker.
Israel likes him.
I saw him a lot at Trump International before the summer. He was there all the time. I guess they were vetting him.
Before we just go into some of his cabinet, a lot of the Democratic Party, they surround yourself with,
easy now.
I know, with their TV shows, with their Stephen Colbert's, their Jimmy Kimmel's, their Jimmy Fallon's, The View. Now think about this. The View. The View really means to have different viewpoints that can be discussed. That's how Barbara Walters started the show. So if you have a difference of opinion, you can discuss it at coffee like the women can say. This is they don't even have the Republican person anymore. They kicked the
Well, they're looking for somebody.
Now.
Yeah, but you should put
They
your application
kicked
in.
that person. It was 5-0. Like the 5
they
TV
should
show.
put you on that show, Govy. You tear up for women. You would kill them.
You know what? It would be my pleasure. It's a joke.
You would pay them.
It's an absolute joke that they have a view and everybody has the same view. They want to know why they're going under. It's an absolute joke.
We have more viewers than them.
Yeah, at least the 5 throws a Democrat out there to give you a little something. This is like they're laying down. But anyway, going back with the cabinet. Let's choose some of the ones that Donald Trump went for.
All right, we have winners and losers.
Okay.
Who you want to go through the losers first in the or you want to talk losers or winners?
Well,
let's talk cabinet, then we'll go winners and losers.
Okay, real quick within the cabinet. Let's go with Marco Rubio.
Great guy.
Perfect for Secretary of State.
I don't understand that. I don't know that much about his knowledge, but evidently he's very knowledgeable about foreign affairs.
That was his deal in the Senate. He ran those programs.
But is that a DEI hire that you're stone cold against? He's Cuban.
So he's been in the Senate for 20 years.
All right, I just want to make sure that you're not going to start screaming if he fails. DEI hire.
No, he's perfect. Okay. I like.
You like Matt Gaetz?
Matt Gaetz is an interesting one. He's a wild guy.
For the Attorney General?
The Attorney General. I'll tell you what was going through Donald Trump's mind.
Corruption allegations?
Yeah, I'll tell you what
Sex trafficking?
Yeah, all those things. So I'll tell you how Donald Trump thinks, how I think he thinks, how I think Donald Trump thinks. He sat back and he watched Barack Obama have his wingman Holder as his wingman.
What was that thing? The guns?
Fast and Furious. So he got to see that. Then he got to see Joe Biden with Garland, who basically tried to put him in jail. Matter of fact, not only raided Mar-a-Lago, basically gave the orders to go through Melania's at night underwear drawer and gave CNN the heads up to film it.
What lucky guys.
That's why Melania didn't even want to meet Joe Biden the other day, because she can't stand her.
But do you think those guys were fighting for the assignment to go through her underwear drawer?
I don't know, but that's where Matt Gaetz. That's where Matt Gaetz is he wanted a bulldog. Now he probably thinks that Matt Gaetz won't win. So you know what? He takes the loss and the next person he puts up as Attorney General
That's the strategy.
is going to get in because they know, listen, you throw Matt Gaetz in there, now you got to accept someone. So he takes a loss, and then he gets all his people in place. I like Lee Zeldin that he picked up.
Lee Zeldin was great. He was a congressman. He's a Jewish guy. By the way, folks, they're saying, Trump's a Nazi
Hitler.
and all this, a Hitler and all this stuff. I mean,
Three Jews.
Yeah, three Jews.
You got Stefanik.
Right,
You
Stefanik.
got Stefanik, who took down the Ivy League schools.
Right.
I mean, basically, she's now in the party. I mean, so he has Walsh from the congressman from Florida, great in the military background. Then you got
Pete Hegseth.
yeah. So now everybody wants to put this guy Pete down that he's just a weekend TV person for Fox News. Let me tell you something. This guy spent decades in the military, ground up, did tours in Afghanistan, got into firefights in Iraq. This is a guy that went to Princeton and Harvard.
Yeah, he went to Princeton. He has 2 Bronze Stars. He went to Princeton and Harvard. He was in Iraq and Afghanistan. And they're saying he's a lightweight. And he's got tattoos. Can you imagine what the recruitments are going to be when they have this muscle man standing there with tattoos?
Well, they threw him out because he has a cross of Israel or something,
yeah.
something like that. They made sure that he had to step down or something. Meanwhile, he's trying to tell you that we are not hitting our recruiting numbers. We're way down. And this guy,
Secretary of Defense.
yeah, now they're trying to
He's
have
a badass dude.
Now they're trying to say that he isn't qualified, but they're okay with Lloyd Austin, 6'6" of this guy that comes in that, by the way, doesn't want to tell you that he's going in for some operation that the whole country doesn't know where he's at. 4 days, bombs are going all over Israel. We don't know where the Secretary of Defense is. Then the Afghanistan withdrawal was on him. Then he's okay with a woke military agenda. Him and Milley, disgusting, never fired. These guys are horrible.
So this guy, Pete, he's amazing. But he does do Fox News. And I said to Govy, I think that's really important that the Secretary of Defense is able to communicate. I mean,
agree.
This guy is now a retired military guy, tattoos all over his body, badass dude, maybe even special forces, I don't know. But the fact that he can communicate and he's on TV, really good-looking guy, that's a wonderful thing for a defense secretary. He's over in Europe. He's got to communicate.
Trump does like good-looking people.
Well, you know what?
Is that a requirement for him?
No,
just
I
tell
have
me.
to tell you, every time he says hi to me, he makes a short joke. I'm short. I'm 5'6" in my sneakers here. And he makes a short. He only likes tall people. He does. Look at everybody he hires. They're tall. He doesn't like short guys.
He mentioned that I have good hair.
He does think you have good hair, but I mean, he doesn't like short guys. But this guy Pete's a tall guy.
Yeah.
And J.D. Vance is like 6'4", 6'5".
Robert F. Kennedy.
He's like 6'3" or 6'4", right? I couldn't be in the cabinet.
Hey, listen. Remember one thing. When Donald Trump was shot at in Butler, Pennsylvania, the first words were not fight, fight, fight. The first words were get my shoes.
Right, he had the lifts in his shoes. No, he had lifts in his shoes.
Right, that was his first words were get my shoes. So, but, if we want to go with winners and losers
well,
right
let's finish with the cabinet. So, your general expert opinion, because your phone blows up all day with everybody asking your opinion, do you feel, obviously he was prepared for this, his chief of staff, the Susie Wiles, brilliant.
Fantastic.
Right? So they're hitting the ground running. I mean, Trump has the House, has the Senate, has the Supreme Court. He's going to get his cabinet. He's winning.
He has Netanyahu calling him 70 times already.
He's got the popular vote. He's got the electoral
Putin
vote.
called him. Zelensky called him. She called him.
Everybody's scared.
Everybody's calling him. And Iran, there won't be one attack right now. Why it's in this peaceful time? Because he knows that he told Israel, do whatever you want.
So
right
your
now.
opinion, are you happy with his cabinet selection so far?
I love his cabinet
Well,
selection.
who's his Secretary of Treasury? They don't have that yet.
because that girl that he just chose, that was the Democrat that switched to the Republican.
Gabbard or something?
I'm not quite sure on her. She'll have to go through a big vetting process.
Right.
Why
does she have that thing in her hair?
I don't know. It's just a card. But you know what?
She's of Indian descent.
I think you have to take a little.
That's a DEI hire.
Yeah, you might have to take a loss. Sometimes you got to throw someone up as a loss. But he has everything that he needs to plow through this. And you know what he does the best part? He forces the Democrats to look so ridiculous. And what I mean by that...
We do look really horrible.
And what I mean by that is... So the first thing he wants to do is he wants to get rid of 1 million to 2 million illegal immigrants. The very first people he wants to ask get out of the country are your rapists, murderers, and
criminals,
assaults. So he wants to get them out. Now, all of a sudden, you got the governor of Massachusetts, you got the governor of Illinois, Pritzker, and you got the governor of New Jersey and Murphy, and then you got the mayor of Chicago, and they're all saying we're going to fight to the death, that we're not going to give these people up. So what they're really saying is, you're not allowed to take my rapist and my murderer from my neighborhood. They're going to stay there, and we're going to keep them with the regular citizens who actually voted for them to be removed. But we're not doing it. We want our rapists and murderers to stay in Chicago. Why would anybody want a rapist and a murderer to stay in the thing? It's just a given. Give that up already. Now, Pritzker, the big fat governor,
he's spending too much time at the buffets at the Hyatt hotels.
It owns the Hyatt food hotels, and basically, you know where he gets money? All these illegal immigrants are staying not in the Hyatt. He owns those other ones that Red Roof Inns, Motel 6s, whatever. He's making a fortune with these illegal immigrants. That's why he's doing it. Disgusting.
All right, my team sucks. I don't know how the Democrats recover. I mean, it's good. My honest opinion, we'll talk winners and losers, and obviously my first loser is Chuck Schumer. But I think if I'm giving advice to the Democratic Party, why don't you sit on your hands for 6 months and shut the fuck up and just go crawl into a corner somewhere and you'll recover. But coming out and blasting somebody like Pete Hegseth or whatever, however you pronounce his last name, and coming out and going crazy when you have to deal with the Kamala Harris $20 million in deficit for the campaign and all this scandal stuff, I think you have to be quiet.
I think to stress the point a little bit, I think the first day that the House is in session and they're going to put some of these things through, I think the Republican Party should pass out the T-shirts, the black T-shirts that have the map of the United States on it, so everybody can wear a shirt that has it's all red except a couple of blue dots. So when they want to sit there and they want to fight it, they can look down at their shirt and say, you know what,
hilarious.
The people have spoken, and you know what, sit on my hands for a little bit because we lost this. We didn't lose closely like Kamala Harris wanted to take the money. She got blown out of the water. Matter of fact, so bad that it's the number. Trump is Reagan-esque right now. I mean,
he'll blow it.
And by the way, what do you think the legacy of Joe Biden is?
Well, let's talk about that. I mean, we have, let's talk winners and losers because one of my winners is
Joe Biden.
No, one of my winners is Donald Trump. The fact that man. And I'm not.
I said he was running the table.
No, but this is why I'm going to say he's a winner. We're going to go with winners first, and I'll go first, Donald, because you beat me at everything else. So I need to get one win here. No, I'm going to say he's a winner only because yesterday I watched him sit next to that fireplace. Did you see how that wood was burning? They had to be sweating. Did you see the giant fire?
Well, who does that?
With Joe Biden. But I'm sitting there, I'm saying, funny. They tried to kill you twice. Right. They tried to bankrupt you. They tried to throw you in jail. And you have the kahunas.
Told you were a rapist.
Told you you're a Nazi. You're a rapist. And you have the kahunas to go in there, sit a foot from this guy, shake his hand, smile, and be normal. You're a winner if you can do that. And that fire, what was going on with that fire? Have you ever been next to a fire like that? It's like when we went to overnight camp, they had the bonfire, you had to be 30 feet away from it and you were sweating. That was crazy.
I thought part of Biden's plan for energy, they were getting rid of gas fireplaces.
Was that a gas fireplace?
It had to be. There was no way.
I've never seen well, you didn't hear the crackling or anything.
It was a gas fireplace. That thing was like looked like it could fill up a helium balloon.
So who's your winner
it
for
could
the
fill
week?
Up balloons.
Who's your winner for the week?
My winners for the week. First of all, Joe Biden is a little bit of a winner because the smile on his face says it all.
Right.
Because, I mean, he went from being Jimmy Carter to being like, hey, I told you I'm the only guy that can beat him. I think Hunter Biden is going to be a winner because...
Well, let's stay on that. Do you think Donald Trump walks away from that and says that Joe was cognitively declining? He spent 2 hours with him.
I think when Donald Trump finally takes office, January 20th, 5 minutes after he takes office, he will tell you that Joe Biden was out to lunch during this meeting, but he won't say it beforehand.
So you don't think Joe Biden handwrites his letter that they put in the desk? He's going to have it typed because you won't be able to read it.
You won't even be able
to.
And I think that he talked about Hunter Biden because he has a decision to make in the next 10 days. Does he pardon him or not? And the guy said it so many times he's not pardoning him. Even KGP said yesterday he's sticking with it. Somebody is going to pardon Hunter Biden. Someone.
They could commute a sentence where he doesn't serve time. He's still convicted guilty, but the sentence is commuted.
So it's just a different word.
It's a different word. He's not pardoning. He's
so that's how you want to tell the American people is. So, but everybody sees that. You see, the crazy thing is, when you
they just saw Kamala Harris be completely embarrassed.
So winners and losers. The losers.
Go ahead. Well, let's stay. Okay, go ahead.
The mainstream media still hasn't learned their lesson yet. They keep thinking they can call this guy anything he wants and that they control it. And except immediately you know that they're bullshitting. You know it. So mainstream media has to say, listen.
All right, Govy, I like your lead here. Let's stay on losers, the mainstream media. I mean, they have to have. Look at Morning Joe and whatever Kika. What's her name?
Mika.
They gotta be. They should wear a black sack on their head. I mean, they have to be embarrassed.
Their ratings got cut in half, literally in half. CNN, they're getting fired left and right. I mean, it's
The View.
It's The View. It's a bloodbath in the mainstream media, and that's because they're sitting there not knowing. I mean, let me ask you a question. If Hitler didn't kill himself in World War II, and they had the end of the war, do you really think Churchill is going to have Adolf over there for coffee and say, so, can I get you anything, Adolf? No, you're not. So if you call this guy Hitler and you say democracy is at stake here, first of all, mainstream media, this whole thing with democracy at stake, they lied to you. I mean, democracy is putting a person up there like Kamala Harris. But
the mainstream, I agree with you. Like CNN, they're all groveling.
George Clooney, loser.
George Clooney
makes a phone call to Barack Obama and says, I decided.
Yeah, don't give him any more movies, folks.
Yeah, I decided I want the country to have a new person. And poof, the Kamala Harris comes up. I mean, who's George Clooney?
Mark Cuban. He's a loser. Mark, you're a loser. I mean, you stuck your neck out. You went for Kamala Harris, and boom,
the
you're
teachers
screwed.
union. I want to tell you something. The mayor of Chicago just got on TV, and they said what he's nervous about with Donald Trump is he's going to try to change the school system there, and we're not going to let him do it because we're proud that 95% of our people can't read, write, or do math, and that they're the lowest.
That is funny.
And we're happy at status quo.
He's on a roll today,
I mean,
man.
status quo. How can you take the side that we're happy with our students? We're in last place right here. I mean, we need to revamp, get rid of the teachers union stuff, and start
Anthony Scaramucci. Loser.
Yeah.
You were 9 days as communication director. You got fired under Trump after 9 friggin' days. Your hedge fund blew up. You had to go back to work. And now you're all over TV killing Donald Trump. All this nonsense you're saying.
Hakeem Jeffries.
Loser. Hakeem Jeffries. He's minority leader of the House.
Right.
You're done. Goodbye. See ya. We need a new one. Chuck Schumer. You're a disgrace to the Jewish people, Chuck Schumer. I mean, what you did to Israel, how you backed Kamala Harris, you stuck your neck out, and now for you to go on TV groveling the way I saw you yesterday, you should be embarrassed. You should be embarrassed that you worked your whole life to get to the pinnacle of a political party, and you act like that.
He's a disgrace to Jews. He's
disgrace
a disgrace
to Jews.
He sold us out. He wanted. He handcuffed the country of Israel for his own political gains. Now, let's talk about the biggest winner besides Trump.
Okay, we're done with losers.
Well, there's so many. I mean, there's just so many that you can.
Jerry Jones is a loser.
Jerry
Owner of
Jones.
the Cowboys. He's a big loser.
By the way, Sunday he loses again. I mean,
Iran, you're a big loser.
Yeah, Iran
you're
is
done. You're about to get poor. Go back to your tents, your whatever.
the drug cartels are about to.
Go buy drug cartels.
But let's go with the biggest winner besides Donald
Winners.
Trump, Elon Musk. I mean,
He's a big winner.
I mean, how much did he make in 10 days?
So I saw him this weekend.
Okay.
I saw him with the Donald. I had no idea.
And your
that-
son saw him.
Yeah. He actually took the pictures. But I had no idea that he was like 6'3" or 4". Again, Donald likes tall people. I mean, the guy's a really big guy.
Did you hear what he said about Elon Musk today?
No.
He won't leave his side. I can't get rid of this guy. He's now part of the family. Do you know he's going back? He's back at Mar-a-Lago. I mean, he hasn't left Donald
He's
Trump's
like
side.
running 7 companies. Doesn't he have to go to work?
You know what? I truly believe he looks at Donald Trump as a father figure, and he wants to be. They call him Uncle. You know, all the kids call him Uncle Elon right now.
Well,
He's a
anyway,
winner.
yeah. So,
And what did Donald Trump tell your kid? Didn't he say?
yeah. He was trying. He played in the club championship against Donald Trump, and he tried to introduce him to Elon Musk, who's sitting where you're sitting, like a foot away. And Elon Musk wouldn't look up from his phone. He introduced him 3 times. Elon Musk wouldn't look up. He's like a very intense guy.
But he did have to tell your 35-year-old son how much money Elon Musk has made.
He made
down
$30
to,
billion
down
this
to the
week.
down to the $500 million.
Yeah, $35.5 billion this week. Right. I mean, he's trying to impress But anyway, winners, I think you got to count Israel as a winner.
Number one. Oh my God.
Look at this cabinet. Everybody is pro-Israel. I mean, it's going to, and I think that really works to settling this thing in the Middle East, because everybody's going to know now over there that they better get straight fast.
They're going to rebuild Palestine the correct way without the tunnels. They're going to do their best. I think Israel will be the stable force in the Middle East for decades to come because of this. This is what you almost needed to hit rock bottom with the Biden administration for Israel to rise up and now be the powerhouse in the Middle East.
So, I think it's all about the subliminal messaging that Donald Trump is sending across the world and across the United States that's going to change the world. I mean, what he's doing with Russia is really interesting. So this drill baby drill, Russia makes all their money from selling oil. That's how they're so rich, and they're prosecuting this war. Well, Donald Trump now is going to force China and these other countries to buy this drill baby drill American oil, which is going to cause Russia to go poor, which means they won't have any money to prosecute this war. I mean, it's a brilliant strategy.
It is.
He's going to make Iran go poor. Hamas is going to have no more money because Iran's poor.
It came down to the energy, what he's been saying from the very beginning. Once you give up your independence,
right?
It was just. But I agree. But now let's just go on one thing.
Let me say another winner. I think.
Go on.
You tell me what you think. I haven't run this by Govy. We prepare 7 minutes for the show. I think the poll workers of America are winners. I mean, the system worked. It worked, except in Pennsylvania.
California. We still don't know who's in the house yet.
I know.
It's 10 days. Come on.
Generally, it wasn't a fight. It was
Florida is run perfectly. Everybody should just use the same system. If Florida can give you the election results 3 hours afterwards, why would all the other states say?
Because they don't need ID.
Yeah. Well, I want to give you one person right now that we have to discuss.
Is a winner or a loser?
He's a loser.
Okay.
and there's a lot of losers that come under this category. P. Diddy. The news is breaking with P. Diddy right now. I mean, you're reading about Kim Kardashian when she was young. She was taken to these parties with whatchamacallit?
Kris Jenner?
No, Paris Hilton. Paris Hilton was taking her. So, Kim Kardashian was wild in those days. I mean, she was only discovered because she got peed on in a movie by whatever. So she now was at these parties. She partook. I don't know if she's a victim or not.
Is she a victim or she's part of the conspiracy?
Well,
whatever?
I don't know what her age. I don't know what her age was. But let's put it this way: Kanye West. He came out against these parties. So he probably knew that she probably told Kanye what took place, and that's why Kanye West actually had a distaste for P. Diddy. Then you have Justin Bieber, who was a victim. It's now coming out rumors are coming out that Jennifer Lopez was told by P. Diddy to sleep with Justin Bieber.
When he was underage?
When he was underage.
Wow.
And people told... maybe that's why he should divorce her. Ben Affleck, maybe he should divorce her because it might come out.
Blow her out for that reason.
Maybe it might come out that all of a sudden Jennifer Lopez is involved in this.
Well, how about if there's a tape of Jennifer Lopez having sex with Justin Bieber?
And it might be.
That's a problem for Jennifer Lopez.
Right. And, you're going to have all these people coming. There's a lot of people.
I still can't wrap my head around that P. Diddy's been in MDC Brooklyn for 9 weeks.
No one's coming to help him.
I mean, he lived this unbelievable life, and now he's in a jail cell for 9. Like he's never getting out of there.
No one can help him because they're all in this tape. Somewhere along the line, they were in the tape. Ashton Kutcher in the tape. I mean, you got some high-end people.
He thought those tapes were get-out-of-free jail card. They're not helping him.
First of all, I mean, he took these tapes. What does he do? Watch them? Like, instead of him going on the internet, he had his own tapes.
Yeah.
His own internet. I mean, sick guy.
Yeah, he's a sick guy.
So, I mean, that's, P. Diddy is a story that, and by the way, the other one, Epstein's plane, TV is going to be really good when Trump decides to turn it around, and you get to see these people with the Epstein stuff. It's going to.
So, do you think with this Matt Gaetz, he's going to go after? He's smiling at Joe Biden and Merrick Garland and all these people now. Do you think he's going to weaponize, the Justice Department?
I don't think he's going to get in, but if he did, yes. If he gets in,
bring that list out, but he'll do it in a smart way.
If he
won't
gets
be like
in,
Fannie Willis in Georgia. He'll do some other kind of smart way, like putting a list out.
I think if he gets in, he's going to do what everybody was scared that Donald Trump was going to do and seek revenge and go after it. I think Donald Trump's going to sit there and say, I have nothing to do with this guy. He's going to say exactly what Joe Biden said. It's an independent thing. Yet, he's telling Gates, take no prisoners, do everything you have to. Go after Paul Pelosi. Go after this one. Go after George Soros. Go after everyone. Go after Uma Abedin. He's going to go after. He's going to cause some aggravation.
I think you should put your name up for press secretary. You'd be great at that job.
I'm not a great public speaker to go in front of everyone.
I think you could do it. You would learn it.
I think the person who turned it down is his lawyer.
Yeah.
She would have been good up there.
What's her, Alina something? She was great.
But if I was up there, I would be like this to ABC. I would say to Rachel Scott, sorry, no questions for you. I would go, everybody, no questions for you. Because under my watch, you're not going to have that guy at CNN walk away with a TV show after this. They're not even going to be able to ask a question.
Right.
Because for 4 years, it was a joke that Joe Biden never even addressed what they did to cover up was unbelievable.
So why do you think they always do those gaggles, those press conferences out on the White House lawn with that helicopter going in the background? You can't hear a word anybody's saying.
I know.
And then Donald Trump, I was looking at the picture yesterday of him and Joe Biden. They're both wearing $5,000 Ferragamo shoes. And I love when they have to walk across that wet grass to the helicopter in those Ferragamo shoes, ruining the bottoms of them every time. Like somebody's got to put a concrete walkway there.
I got to tell you something. There could have been an embarrassing situation yesterday that took place besides the fireplace catching them on fire. Is when Donald Trump shook his hand, I thought he was going to pull him out of the chair. I mean, Joe Biden is a little weak. When he pulled him, what would have happened if Joe Biden...
Well, that's the way he shakes a hand.
But what would have happened if Joe Biden fell out of the chair?
Yeah, that would be hysterical.
I mean, could you imagine if he pulled... Because he had a tough grip. They had to show that on TV.
Well, he falls down playing stairs. He falls off of stages. He can certainly fall off of a chair. How much time we have left, Govy?
We got a couple minutes.
We're at 40 minutes. Yeah, all right, Govy, go with your picks.
I got to go with my picks.
How'd you do last week?
Last week in the pros, I went 1-2, but in college, I went 3-0.
All right.
So here I go.
That's even harder, college.
Yeah, so here I go. Let's go with college first. I got Illinois -3 over Michigan State. I got Arkansas plus 13.5 over Texas. I got Utah plus 11.5 over Colorado. I got Navy plus 7 over Tulane. I got FAU plus 2.5 over Temple. So I
like that FAU.
1, 2, 3. I got 4 underdogs, 1 favorite. Now
FAU's great.
Now I got my pros. I got the Philadelphia Eagles tonight -4 against the Washington Commanders.
4 days rest.
So same 4 days rest for Washington, and it's in Philly. I like the New York Jets -4 over the Colts. Do or die for Aaron Rodgers. Could be benched after this game. I got the Rams -4.5 over New England. They're still in. They could still win the division. I got the Bengals plus 1.5 over the Chargers. They could still make a playoff spot. And here's the crazy one. I got the Dallas Cowboys plus 7.5 over Houston. The state of Texas is looking at this game.
How can Dallas beat Houston?
They just have to lose. They just have to lose by less than 7.5.
Yeah, there's no way.
If they lose to Houston by more than 7.5,
they have a backup. Preston's out for the season.
I don't care. This is it. This is like you lose.
Where's
to
the
Houston.
game?
It's in Houston.
It's going to be 55-3.
No, well, if it is, Jerry Jones has a lot of he has a lot of headaches. So that's my.
They should have a pay-per-view feed on Jerry Jones. I would pay $50 to watch him the entire game, sitting there like, oh.
And one important thing we got to do: we are picking up subscribers like crazy right now. And I know we asked you, we need you to still subscribe to our show. Because we want to try to be on The
View. We want to get on The View.
We want to be on The View. We want to be on something. And we also want you to be able to buy Cutty's book, Left Foot, Right Foot.
Survival Guide for Business and Life. It's a fun book. You'll laugh your ass off. Some great stories in here. There's even a chapter on the podcast.
My prediction? It's a New York Times bestseller that my podcast partner is going to be a New York Times bestseller.
Well, Govy, if Melania can sell 200,000 books, we can too.
Her book is falling like a rock, isn't it?
I know, but we have weekly 400,000 views on our reels.
And
buy it all.
And one last question, one last topic I just want your opinion on. Melania Trump sitting there saying, I'm not going to be in the White House the whole time. I'm going to be a mom. I just got to say one thing. Love the Trumps, love the family. Barron Trump, if I could give you a little advice, you're in college at NYU, you got Secret Service around you. You do not need your mom to make you dinner at night. You can go home to Trump Tower all by yourself. They can send Marine One for you. You can take your friends to the White House, but you do not need Melania, your mom, to wait for you to come home from school every night to make sure you ate your dinner and did your homework. You are in college. It's time for you to spread your wings and live.
Folks, Govy won't be up at Trump International at all this season.
Hey, I got to call balls and strikes.
No, okay.
And I got to tell you, and Ivanka to sit there and say, I'm back, baby. I got to let you know. You know what? Eric Trump, Donald Trump Jr., they never left their dad's side. They were there from day one. Ivanka kind of disappeared on January 7th, and she just came back now. I kind of like, she's got to win my heart back. She can. She can win my heart back. But Eric Trump, Donald Jr., boy, they stuck around. And Laura Trump, who could be the senator of Florida.
How about that story?
She could be the next senator of Florida, Laura Trump replacing Marco Rubio.
If she gets appointed by DeSantis, that's an unbelievable story. If that happens,
would they go crazy?
they would go nuts. They would absolutely go insane. All right, folks. Thank you for listening to the Govy Show this week, formerly known as the Cutty and Govy Show.
We'll see you next week.
Take care.